Hi there, everyone. It's Travis here from Surf Lifesaving Australia. Thanks for joining in for our Operations App webinar this evening. So we're just going to be going through the app, some of the changes that you'll see as we come into this season, and then also just a walkthrough of all of the functionality within the app. There's a raise your hand section at the bottom. So if it's possible, could I just get anybody who has actually used the app just to raise their hand, just so I've got an idea of who used it last season and who hasn't. It looks like most people haven't used the app here, which means I'll just make sure that we go through everything in quite a bit of detail. So let's begin. You'll notice that on the right hand side we've got the app. I've got it here in the web version, but I've just sized it so it does look like the mobile version. Just makes navigating around a little bit easier. So I've got the Operations App user guide here on the left-hand side. Now you can get this if you do want to refer to it at all on our help site, so help.sls.com.au under user guides, and then iPhone device apps over here. So that's just a quick one pager. It doesn't go into a lot of depth. We'll be going into quite a bit of detail throughout this webinar. You'll probably most likely be using the app on your iPhone or your Android device. So there is a web version, which you can see here, which we'll be going through tonight, but that's exactly the same as the iPhone and the Android version. So you'll see here the Operations app on the Apple App Store. So if you've got an iPhone, simply search for SLSA Operations app and you can download that onto your phone. Similarly, in the Google Play Store, just search for SLSA Operations app. You'll find that there and you can download that onto your Android device. Now, one of the things to take into consideration when you are logging into the Operations app is it just simply uses your members area login. So the login that you use to access the members area, which you would use if you're going to do any of your renewals or checking your awards or going to the document library or any other facility within the members area. So that exact same login you would use for the Operations app. So once you get the app, it asks you for your login. You log in using your members area login, and then basically what will happen from there is that if the app's on your phone, then you actually no longer need to re-log in every time. It will just automatically open up and log in automatically as you. So that saves you a bit of time if you're on patrol. In terms of setting up the system so that the app will work, we'll just go through that very briefly, and then we can take the walkthrough through the actual app. So how it works is that your state will define what patrol positions will be able to use the app. In this case, I'm just going to use New South Wales as an example. So when your club is setting up your roster, then you'll have the opportunity of putting people in all of these different positions. Now, for New South Wales, for example, they've designated patrol captain, vice captain, and also patrol application captain as positions that can use the app. So basically, what that means is that as long as you're in one of those positions in any patrol team within your club, you'll be able to use the app and you'll be able to sign on and action and sign off any patrol throughout the whole season. So you only have to be in one of those positions in one team that's rostered on for the season, and then any team that's on is accessible for you for the day. So if you've arranged a patrol swap between patrol captains, for example, then one patrol captain can sign on another patrol captain team if they need to for that current day. So that's just a quick look at the Surf Guard side of things. So basically, once your club has set up your roster, then Catherine's just asking me to repeat those positions. So it's worthwhile mentioning this is just for New South Wales, but most of the other states are using the same positions as well. So basically, it's the patrol captain, the vice captain, and then most states now have a third position, which they've designated the patrol app captain or the patrol application captain or something similar to that. And as long as you've been placed in one of those positions, then you'll be able to use the app. If you're not in one of those positions, you'll still be able to see the patrol information in the screen. However, it'll just have a little padlock on it, and you won't actually be able to action anything. So if you're not sure, just check with your state though. So basically, once your teams have been set up in SurfGuard and they've been assigned a roster, then when you log into the app, you'll see a screen that looks something like this. So most clubs don't have 3 patrols on in one day, but some do. So this is a situation where we've got 3 patrols on in one day. You may only have 1 or 2, and that would be reflected here. Now, if you did use the app last season, you'll notice that the app this season looks a little bit different. We've just cleaned up the interface a little bit, and the colors are a little bit different, and also there's a few more icons down the bottom. Now, if you have got the app, you probably won't see this at the moment. So this is the new version that will be released in the next couple of weeks. So it'll be ready by the time the season starts for you guys. So just keep your eye out for an update of the app, and then you'll see these changes. If you have used the app, it'll most likely look a little bit like this, which is very similar, but that's just what it would have looked like last season and at the moment. So basically what we're going to do is I'm just going to flick to the existing app, and we're just going to run through the process from start to finish of managing your patrol on the given day. So we're going to assume that we've logged in here. So once you've logged in using your members area login, then you are given, and I'm going to use the new app just to show you how it all looks. So basically, you get a bit of a dashboard, and that will identify who you are. It'll also identify if you hold any officer positions within any organisations or any clubs, and then you can also see those positions and see what awards you hold. So instead of having to go to the members area, for example, and checking your award list, you can actually do it from within the operations app now. This is handy if you've got other people who want to volunteer for your patrol, or a visitor who might want to volunteer. They can just log into the operations app and show you as the patrol captain that they actually have the right qualifications to be in your team, and then you can add them. So and then we've got some weather information here for your current location, and then it'll show you a bit of a snapshot of your upcoming patrols. So this is just the next 5 patrols. And then you go to the patrol screen, and then you get your list of today's patrols. So you can also view upcoming patrols here as well. You can click on the upcoming one. We haven't got any there at the moment, but if we go in here, I'm pretty sure we've got a few here. So there you go. So we've got a few there, and you'll notice that some of these have a little padlock. So that's what I was talking about, where if you're just a general member of the patrol, or you're in a position that is unable to action things within the app, then you'll just get a little padlock there, similar to that. In this case, we can action any of the patrols that we've got within the app here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to run through this patrol here, test team C, and I'll just show you from start to finish, basically managing your patrol. So just remember again, all this information is coming from SurfGuard. So as long as your teams are in there in your roster, everything will appear in the app correctly. So we just click on this tab over here, which is the status tab. So at the moment, our team is signed off, and we can see that from where it says off. And then we can go down and enter all of this information. So we've got just the basic information that you would normally radio through, or in this case, use in the app now. So we've got your patrol strength, your beach status, IRB status, ATV or watercraft status, and then we've got a new one as well this season, which is the UAV status, which is the aerial vehicles or drones. Not all clubs or lifeguard services will have a drone. This is only reasonably new, so one thing you'll notice is this defaults to not operational. So this will default always to not operational, but you can change it if your club or lifeguard service does happen to have a drone or aerial vehicle in operation. The number of patrolling members just simply defaults to the number of people that you've got rostered on for the current day. You can update that if you need to. So you might have 4 people rostered on, but maybe only 2 or 3 of them are actually on the beach during sign-on. So you can make a change to that if you need to. And then it just asks you for your beach attendance at sign-on. So we'll just enter some numbers in there. And then you can specify your patrol location and also a photo of the day as well. So it's worthwhile mentioning with the patrol location that that this information is also displayed on BeachSafe. So whatever information you specify here, so for patrol location and also for the photo of the day, it'll actually display on the BeachSafe website. And I'll just bring that up here. So when you go to BeachSafe, it gives you all the information about all of the beaches in Australia and the location as well. And it does tell you if it's patrolled or not. If your club is signed on for the current day, it will indicate that in real time on BeachSafe. So for anyone in the community who wants to go to the website and wants to visit your beach, they'll actually be able to see that you're currently signed on. And that's based on the fact that you've signed in through the app. If you've specified your patrol location, they'll also be able to see on the map where your patrol location is, i.e. where the flags are. And then if you've taken a photo of the day of the current conditions, then that will also show on the BeachSafe website here. So the one thing to consider with the photo of the day is just make sure that it is actually just a photo of the current conditions at the beach, and not say a selfie of people at the who are on patrol or something similar to that. Yeah, just keep in mind that will actually show on the BeachSafe website. And then you can enter some notes down here, and then we hit sign on. So this is the equivalent to signing on via the radio. Now, some Surfcom centres will still radio the clubs and just do a quick check, and that's fine. That may be done independently, and probably will be done independently of this. But they might do that check. But you're supplying them with all of this information anyway through the app, and this goes directly to Surfcom, so they'll be able to see this instantly within the Surfcom system. You don't necessarily have to radio if you don't need to. We'll just get rid of that for a second. So you'll see here that we're signed on. So we've got a sign-on time down the bottom here, and from this point onwards, we're signed on in the system. Surfcom knows we're signed on. And we can update the status of our club at any point in time. So, for example, if your IRB becomes not operational for some reason, then you can change that to not operational. If you change your patrol location, let's say a hazard comes through and you need to change the location of the flags, you can simply do that. So you can update anything at any point in time and just hit update, and that will send that information directly into Surfcom. And also, where appropriate, updated on the BeachSafe website as well. So you can keep the status of your patrol updated throughout the season, throughout the day, or your patrol, I should say. And then you can also update the stats on your roster at any point in time as well. So we've got our roster here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flick to the new version of the app, because there's been a bit of a change. One of the things that a few clubs, especially the bigger clubs, asked for was kind of a checkbox system. So what you'll notice when you start this season, and I'll just open up one of these patrols, is that it lists all of the members in the patrol, but you'll notice there's a little checkbox. So it's assumed that if you don't tick someone, it's assumed that they're not there. So what you have to do is you actually have to go through and check each person. So assuming these 3 people are here, we tick those people, and then it defaults to their rostered time and things like that, and then you can go ahead with that. So if these people didn't turn up, then you would simply leave them unticked, and then at the end of the patrol, when you sign off, they would simply be marked as a no-show, and then all the people that are ticked would be updated accordingly with their relevant information. So that, just keep that in mind when you do start for the season, because that is a different process to what we had last season. Also, one of the things to keep in mind is that the app will remind you when it's time to sign off. So you'll see there on the screen, basically half an hour before your scheduled sign-off time, the app will send you a push notification. So in this case, I've got it here on your phone. It'll be like a proper push notification, which you'll get 30 minutes beforehand. Now, you don't need to sign off your patrol now, but it's just a reminder. And you'll see that where before all we had was an update option at the bottom, now we've actually got the option to sign off as well. So we're not going to sign off yet because we haven't actually filled in all of the information that we need to. So just remember with the roster, and I'm not going to update the roster here. I'm actually just going to update the roster over here so we can see what the new one looks like. So if you want to add a position, then you simply click the add position button and type in a name, choose the person, select the position that that person will hold within the team and what kind of patrol type they're doing, and the time information. So let's say they started half an hour later, we can update that information accordingly and hit save. And then that person's added to that team. So we can see that person there. You can assign multiple positions to the same person. So if we wanted to assign multiple positions to Test Beck, then we could add position, select that person again, and we might say that they're also holding the radio operator position, for example. I'll put the time there. Now, it doesn't always have to be the same time, but in this case, I'm going to do that. And you'll notice that, and if any of you used the app last season, you'll notice that the different positions for each person is now grouped underneath that person. So it doesn't matter how many positions a person has, they'll always be grouped underneath that individual, which makes it a bit easier to reconcile all the information within the app. So you can see that there. If you wanted to add a visitor from another club, then you simply hit add position again and use the visitor button at the top. And it will change here and ask you to actually select a club. So we'll just put in a club there. Not sure if we'll be able to find anyone, but basically you would go through and try and find a person. There we go. Assign them accordingly and hit save. So now we've added a visitor and we can see that person there and it's selected them as a visitor. So you would go through and update all of that information accordingly. And then you can see there that we still have these two people unticked, which means at the end of the patrol, if they didn't turn up, they'd simply be marked as a no-show. So just keep that in mind. Once you've done the roster, then you would go through and do the statistics. So this page hasn't changed much in the new version. You'll see that it's just a slightly cleaner interface that we've given it here. But the details are essentially the same. So if you used the app last year, you'll notice that nothing much has changed here in terms of the pre-filling of weather. If you're new to the app, then you can pre-fill the weather and that will actually bring it through from the Bureau of Meteorology website in real time. So if we've just started our patrol, we've got our start, middle and finish weather periods. You just hit the auto button and it will pre-fill everything from the Bureau of Meteorology. There may be a couple of fields which you may have to fill in. So you simply select the appropriate options and so on. You'll see that the pre-fill also includes tide information as well. So it's quite handy once you start your patrol to do that pre-fill. You get all that tide information and then it just means that you don't have to enter so much information into all of those fields. And then in the middle of your patrol, you would hit auto again and it would pull the weather from that specific time as well. And then you can do it just before you sign off. Karen's just asking if we can show how to enter a sub. Yes, I'll go back and do that right now. So we'll go back here. So let's say somebody was subbing for this test person here in the vice captain position. Then you would simply edit that position. And in the substitute section, then you would just type in the name of the person who's going to be substituting. So in this case, we'll just choose this person here. So we've got test account and then hit save. So it's pretty much as simple as that. And you'll see that now test account is listed there, and the original test person is crossed out underneath. So this will come through then when you sign off. This will come through into SurfGuard as the substitute, but it does recognise that test person 33 was the original person. I suppose in the same way as well, even if you didn't want to do a substitute, if you did want to edit someone's details, then you can just go in and hit edit. Let's say somebody started a bit later, or they finished a bit later or earlier, or they changed their position as they were on patrol. Then you could edit all of that information and then just hit save, and then that gets updated in the system there. So yeah, so basically, if you want to edit an individual's details or put in a substitute, you hit edit. If you wanted to add new people or visitors, then you would hit the add position button at the bottom of the screen. So, yeah. So I'll just finish off that weather. Now, the weather is the only required field, basically. So as long as you enter that information there, and like I said, use the pre-fill, and it pre-fills most of it for you anyway, then you've basically filled in all of the required fields that you need. So at this point in time, we could sign off, but obviously it's likely that you've probably got more stats that you need to record throughout the day. So basically, as you're going, you can just go down and you can collapse these sections if you don't want to see them. And we'll just go through each section. I'll just go through them briefly. So the real-time hazards will get updated on BeachSafe and also in SurfCom as well. So if there's a rip current, then you can just simply toggle that option there. Let's say there's some water pollution as well. So we've got those two options selected. You just hit update hazards, and then that sends that information in real time through to SurfCom. So SurfCom gets notified, plus also BeachSafe. So in BeachSafe, there'll be a real-time hazards section. So as well as showing you where the patrol is, the photo of the conditions of the day, and also whether it's currently patrolled and open or closed. It'll also show you any real-time hazards as well. So just keep that in mind. Also, just keep it in mind in terms of playing around as well, because you obviously don't want to accidentally put a hazard there and then it shows incorrectly on the website on BeachSafe. So just something to think about there. So we'll just collapse that section there, and then it basically just goes through all your different stats. So we've got residents rescued, incident reports and things, and you can either use these little buttons here, or you can just type directly into the field as well. So if it's a large number, it's a bit easier typing directly into the field. If it's a small one, sometimes you can easier use the plus and the minus. And we've got our beach closure reasons. Now, it's worthwhile mentioning that the stat screen may look a little bit different depending on which state you're in. So, for example, this is probably more representative of what, say, New South Wales or WA would see, whereas for South Australia and Tasmania, for example, their stat screen might be a little bit smaller. So just keep that in mind. It might not look exactly the same as this, but the process is the same. And the main sections, like the hazards, weather conditions, beach attendance, and rescues, will be similar. So with the beach attendance, basically, we've got our beach attendance, which was asked at the beginning when we signed on originally. So that's the first one there. And then you can just continue each hour to add the relevant beach attendance information here. So we can put those details in, hit save, and then each hour we can put those details into the system there. And so on. So we've got that information there. Now, one thing that's worthwhile just showing you is that we've now got a real-time beach attendance graph within the app. So you can actually check on your overall beach attendance throughout the current day, plus also an aggregate total for your branch and your state as well. So for example, I'll just show you quickly for today. So we'll just go back. Now I'm just going to open up the little dashboard here, and you can see, and this is the production system. So this is real data for the current day. You'll see that for the state of Surf Lifesaving Western Australia, this is their attendance graph for the current day. they've got a couple of lifeguard services operating throughout the week. And these are the stats that they've entered into the app today. So you can go back for previous days as well. So you can see here, if we just flick back, it'll change. And then you can also turn on and off different sections. So if you're only interested in a couple of sections, just click on these, and then you can view that information there. So it's worthwhile just mentioning this is just for your current club or your branch or your state. So you can't go around and have a look at other clubs' data, but it's also handy from a state and a branch perspective to see what the overall beach attendance is throughout the branch and state. And again, that's real time as well. So in the new layout for the app, you'll see that that dashboard's actually down the bottom here in the little icons. So you can just click on that and then view the details here, and it's exactly the same. So we'll just go back to our patrol. So here's our patrol. At any point in time, you can always put the app down, come back to it, and you'll see that this is the patrol that's on, because we can see in the status that it's on, and we've got some draft stats as well saved. So we'll just continue going through the stats. So we've looked at the beach attendance. If you do need to edit these, you can just click on them and then edit that relevant beach attendance information. We'll just collapse that, and then we'll just go through the rescues. So there's two ways to do a rescue. You can either add an individual rescue, or you can add a mass rescue. The mass rescue is reasonably new. If you used the app last year, you probably wouldn't have seen that. So we'll just go through both options. So when you add a rescue, it asks you for the time, gender, method, and condition. So they're the only required fields that you need to fill in. And they're generally the four easiest fields to identify. And then the other ones are optional. Obviously, you're not always sure what the age or the postcode of the person is, so we can't make those things mandatory. It is worthwhile putting the location as well, even if it's not 100%, at least a rough location is always handy. And then hit save. So again, this is for an individual rescue, and then you can see that listed there. That will go directly into SurfCom as well. So they'll in real time be notified that that rescue occurred, and then they can see that information there. And then with the mass rescues, it's similar. There's just not as many required fields. So you can specify the number of people, and this number allows you to go up to 99. So basically, anything up to 99 you can put in there, and then it will add that many rescues into the system. You can specify the time the mass rescue occurred and the location. And then there's some other optional fields that you can fill in, such as method, condition. They're optional because you may not have used the same method for all of those mass rescues. If you've done a few rescues all at the one time, and you've rescued 4 people here and 4 people there, you could put in multiple mass rescues. So you could put in 4, select the method, and then go in and put in another 4 and select a different method, etc. So it's completely up to you how you do it. But like I said, the only required information for a mass rescue really is the number of people, the time, and the location. So what we'll do is we'll just save that. So now we've done 1 individual rescue, and then we've done 4. We've rescued 4 people as part of a mass rescue. So we've got all of that there, and again, that's all gone straight into SurfCom in real time to let them know what's happening. So we'll just close that up, and then we've got all of the other sections. So first aid summary for marine stings, etc. We've got our first aid analysis as well, preventative actions, missing persons, local government ordinance. And the list goes on. There's quite a bit of information here, as you've probably seen before. And then we've got the gear and equipment right at the end. And then you can put in a comment there if you need to. So, so basically just update all of this information whenever you need to. Collapse the sections if you're not looking at those ones and you don't need them there on the screen. And then you don't, with the exception of the hazards and hitting update and a couple of the other things like signing on and signing off, the app will automatically save things into it. So you don't necessarily need to hit save as such. You just have to enter a number here, and the app will just automatically save those details into the system. So once you've done your roster and your stats, then essentially you can sign off if it's within half an hour of your sign off time. There's a little checklist here which will tell you if you've filled in everything properly. And it's worth noting as well that you don't have to sign off at your sign off time. So if you've decided to keep the beach open for another hour because it's really busy and it's the middle of summer, that's totally fine. You can just continue to update the status of your patrol accordingly. And then when it's time to sign off, just simply sign off. The sign on and sign off time does not get reflected against the individual's sign on and sign off time. That's 100% reliant on you editing this information or using the default information that's here in the roster here, and that's purely defaulted to the start and finish time of your actual patrol. So if you did leave the beach open for an extra hour and a few people stayed on, then you could just simply edit that and mention that they continued on for another hour. Maybe that person and this person, and maybe the other couple of people left, for example. So it's pretty flexible in the way you manage it. Before we sign off, I'll just show you the locations tab. So basically all this does is it just shows you your current location, as in you as the user of the app. It'll show you the location of any rescues that may have occurred, and also the location of your actual patrol itself. If you've identified the location of any hazards, so for example, these are the two hazards we turned on here, but if you have identified any sharks and marine stingers, then it will ask you to add an optional location as well. And I'll just show you how that works. So we can add a marine stinger location here, and then that will actually show on BeachSafe as well. So as well as identifying that there are marine stingers, it'll identify where they actually are located. So we can just update that. And then that will show in our little locations tab here. And it will also show on the BeachSafe website in this map as well that there's a hazard there. BeachSafe won't show rescues and sensitive incident information. It'll just show any information about the patrol location and patrol status and things like that. So once you've finished up for the day and you've entered all of your information, then you would just simply sign off. So we hit sign off. Now, if there's an issue with any of the people that you've added in, or positions not right, or times overlapping, it shouldn't let you do those things anyway if it's incorrect. But if there are, then a little message will pop up at that point in time to let you know, and then you can go back and update any information you need to before you sign off and try again. If everything's okay, then you'll get a little congratulations trophy, and basically that just means that you've signed off in SurfCom, so that information's all gone through to SurfCom in real time to let them know that you've signed off. Plus, it will also add all of your statistics and everything you've added in to the app. It will add that directly into SurfGuard, and all of that information will be immediately available within SurfGuard. So you don't have to enter it manually into SurfGuard. What will happen once it's added into SurfGuard, you'll also get emailed a soft copy logbook, essentially, a PDF logbook of that patrol, which will contain all of the stats and the roster information as well. Now, the people who will get emailed that will be the people who are able to use the app. So that would be, in New South Wales' case, the patrol captain, vice captain, and patrol app captain. So basically, anybody who's in that patrol, who's in a position that allows them to use the app, will get an email at the end of that patrol with a soft copy version of the stats. So that's just a way of making sure that what ended up in SurfGuard is actually correct. And it's worthwhile just having a quick look at that email and making sure that it does look okay. You can cross-reference that if you need to against the app. So you can go in, and even though my patrol's signed off now, I can still go in and actually view everything that we did. So I can view all the weather conditions, real-time hazards, any of the stats that we entered, all the roster details that we put in here. So anything we did, I can still go back in and check that information. And it's important to remember as well that you can do that for previous patrols as well. So if there was an issue of some kind, say for example you forgot to sign off, and at the end of the day, and you just went home, and the next day you realised you hadn't signed off, then if you are signed off in the app, then it's not going to add all of those stats and things into SurfGuard. So you may need to manually enter the details into SurfGuard. So what you can do, or if there's just an issue, maybe you run out of internet, or something occurs on the beach that prevents you from signing off and adding the details to SurfGuard, then you can always go back, and for every patrol that has ever occurred, you can go back and actually have a look at all the information that was added into the app. So if you do need to manually enter data or manually update data in SurfGuard, you can just go into the app, use the archived tab here, and you can flick back different months as well, and then you can simply go back and have a look at all of the details that you've previously entered, and everything will be in here to cross-reference against, and then enter back into SurfGuard. So essentially, this is like an electronic version of your patrol logbook. So you've got your stats that you record on the day that are sent into SurfGuard, and then you can always cross-reference that information using that archive tab as well. So many clubs have essentially stopped using the patrol logbook, and if that's a decision that you want to make, then you just have to realise that if there is an issue, you can always go back to that archive tab and have a look at any of the stats that are there. So that essentially is an overview of that whole section of the app. What I wanted to show you was just in the new interface, there's a few new things. I've already shown you the dashboard there. There's an activities section, which I'll just show you in the main app. And basically, the activities section is just it's just the current daily log of what's happening in your area. So it'll default to 20 kilometers around you. So you'll be able to see all of the information that other clubs within your area are submitting to SurfCom. It doesn't include any incident information, so any sensitive information will be excluded from here. But your general sign on, sign off, update status, things like that. The location of support services and things like that will all be in here, and then you can change it as well to 50 kilometers or which basically just means I want to see the activity of everything that's happening in my state, and you can see in this case all the stuff that we just did during this webinar has been logged in the system. So we can see the full radio log there from when we signed on, changed the status, when we updated the hazards. We did the rescues. We also updated the hazards again, and then we signed off basically, and all our stats were updated and then sent into SurfGuard. So that's in time chronological order. So we'll just go back to the new interface. So basically, what I want to show you is just some of the other areas of the app that you may be interested in. So we already had a look at the dashboard. There's a surf risk rating section, which is not open to everyone. You have to have done a little surf risk rating course, which I believe that SLSA will be rolling out sometime this season. And if you are using this or you have seen it at events, it's basically a way of being able to do a mini risk assessment on the beach, and then get a score at the end to identify if you need to put in place any mitigation of any risks. So just keep your eye out for that, because there is a patrol risk assessment component to that, which we're hoping to make available to patrol teams sometime during the season. We've got the tracker, which you may or may not have seen last time. So basically, if you're a support service using the system, then you can use the tracker to track your location. This is available in real time in SurfCom as well. So as soon as you start tracking your location, then SurfCom will be able to see that. It can be used by clubs if you're doing roving patrols to like a lake or a lagoon or something, or if you need to. And that's just based purely on your phone's location. If you do want to track yourself, you just simply hit new, and and select which patrol team or no patrol if there's no patrol on at the moment, what type of track you want to do, whether you're in a vehicle or an IRB or in person, and then basically just starts the tracker, and we'll track all of your movements. So we'll just stop that because we're not really moving anywhere at the moment. Yeah, and then we'll go to some of the new sections. So so when we release the new version of the app very shortly, you'll see that there's a new section called Gear and Issues. So this is directly linked to SurfGuard. So in SurfGuard, you may or may not know, but in SurfGuard there's an asset register with all of your gear in, and that's what's used to pre-fill the gear inspection checklists and those kinds of things. So within the app, you'll actually be able to see all of the gear within your club. Now, this will only be open to certain officers and positions within the club. And if you have got access to this, then you'll be able to basically initiate, view all the details for your gear, but also initiate gear inspections as well. And when you're doing your gear inspections, you'll go through, enter all the details here, and if all of the checklist items pass, then the details for your gear inspection will actually be updated directly into SurfGuard back against that piece of gear, to indicate that the checklist was completed and the gear inspection was passed successfully. And you can put some comments here and hit save. And then you can always go back as well and view that gear inspection checklist. So we've got the details there. So we've got the full history of all the gear inspections that have occurred, and then all of the current inspection date, who it was inspected by, etc. That's all updated back directly into SurfGuard against that piece of gear. So just keep your eye out for that over the next couple of weeks as we introduce the new version. I know that many New South Wales clubs might be doing theirs this weekend, so unfortunately it may not be ready for that. But certainly if you've got your gear inspection kind of mid or towards the end of the month, or for other states who are starting a little bit later in October and November, this function will certainly be ready. But one of the areas I did want to show you, which will be available to anyone using the app who's able to, is the issues section. So this will basically allow you to log issues against certain pieces of gear. So if there is an issue with say this IRB, let's say this IRB motor here, then what you can do is you can actually create an issue, give it a name, and then a priority, enter a description there. Helps if I can spell correctly. And then you can also take a photo of that issue as well. And then you can save that. And now that issue is saved in the system, for any patrol captain, vice captain, or patrol app captain can go in here now and see that there's an issue with a piece of gear in their club. And as this area gets used more, we'll probably integrate it more into the patrols area as well. So when you're signing on, it'll notify you if there are any issues with any major pieces of gear. And then at any point in time, you can go in here and view the details for that. And then you can change the status from open to closed, or you can add some comments as well. So the idea behind the comments here is to basically add a kind of a free text discussion, which will allow anybody to put any comments and photos in there. And essentially, it's a way of those people tracking the issue through to resolution. So you just enter your comments here, and then there'll just be a complete history there of all of the information that you've entered, and the photos as well that were submitted. And then once the issue's been fixed, then you can go in here and actually close close that issue. And then now that's closed. So just keep your eye out for that one as it comes through. The intention of the gear and equipment section is that once we've released this initial version, then throughout the season, there'll be more functionality added, which will allow you to actually add new gear and update your gear and equipment from directly within the app as well. And also some of the new sections that we will be introducing throughout the season as well will be the ability to do your powercraft logs, and that will directly link to the gear and equipment section as well. And then also your IRD incident or your incident report form will be able to be actioned from within the app as well. So yeah, so that essentially brings us, I suppose, to a close today. Did anybody have any other questions or anything else that you wanted me to go through this evening? Feel free to use the Q&A section if there's anything that anyone wants me to cover. All right. It doesn't look like it. So I hope everyone's got a lot out of this session. We will be recording these and uploading them for you to view. So if you haven't already, you'll see that some of the sessions that we've already done are available to watch, including a previous session that we did on the operations app a few weeks ago here. So certainly, if any of these other ones, such as say managing patrols, if you are a club captain or a patrol captain, are of interest, then you can go back here and watch them. Once this one's uploaded, we will notify all the attendees this evening to let you know that that you can come back in and watch this session. And then just keep your eye out for the updates to the app that will be occurring over the next couple of weeks. And then you'll start seeing this new interface come in. And then especially just keep in mind the changes to the roster as well. So just making sure that that you do actually tick those boxes there as well. I have got one question. Joanne's just asking me, sorry, I missed the start. Is this one going to be available again? Just answered. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you'll be able to watch it again, like I mentioned before. And if we see the need to as well, we may even run another webinar for the operations app as it gets closer to the season, say in a couple of weeks. Or if there's any members from any other states who are starting in October or November who would find another webinar useful, then certainly reach out. And our plan is to run a lot more of these webinars throughout the season to give everyone a bit of a chance to jump on and ask some questions. So thanks again, everyone, for joining. I hope you got a lot out of it and have a great evening. Thanks.